And now we have finally gotten to the perfect three triangle, how it's supposed to be. And this comprises of passion, intimacy, and commitment. And it says, marriage partners do not lock into consummate love once and for all. For love styles in marriage changes. At times, for one spouse, some elements become stronger than others, and a style of loving emerges that is not in step with the other partner's style. In John and Monica's case, that is the reason why sometimes when you hear that, oh, a woman is different when she gives birth, she's different when she has children, she's different from the beginning of the marriage. That's because with every stage of life, like just explained here, love changes, and some elements of love become stronger than the other, depending on where the person is in life. John valued compassionable love at that stage of their relationship, while Monica wanted romantic love. He needed a deeper sense of bonding and certainty, but his wife longed for more sensuality. They were meeting each other's intimacy need, but falling short on passion and commitment. For the time being, they were out of step. Okay. Going back to our example at the beginning of the chapter, we can understand the problem with Scott and Courtney. Scott and Courtney. You know Kardashians. Scott broke off his engagement with Courtney because he was caught up in a romantic style of love and felt uncertain about lifelong commitment. While intimacy and passion were alive and well, Scott feared his strong feelings of attraction might only be a fleeting phase. In an agonizing counseling session, he and Courtney decided not to break up, but to remain engaged and postpone their wedding. 4 months later, after Scott had had time to cultivate commitment into his love style, they set a new wedding date and were married later that year. There's a quote here by Anne Marrow, and it says, "We have so little faith in the ebb and flow of life, of love, and of relationships." Okay. Jennifer and Michael, who had been married for 10 years, also suffered from being out of sync in their style of loving. Michael's love was steady, supported by passion, intimacy, and commitment, but Jennifer had lost that passionate feeling. Her compassionable love style caused her to doubt her real love for Michael and question whether it was wise for them to have a baby. After a long overdue romantic getaway with Michael and some deliberate actions to cultivate passion, however, Jennifer's love style once again fell in sync with her husband's. That's why they say it's always good. Sometimes when you cannot stop fighting or arguing, it's better you travel and leave your husband or your wife for a while. She'll start missing you, and when she sees you again, boom, the love is back. Such is the dance of love. Day in and day out, we clumsily shuffle, stumble, and even step on one another's feet in our relationships. But that doesn't diminish the graceful moment when two partners finally experience the same rhythm of passion, intimacy, and commitment. Anne Marrow wrote about the dance of love in her wonderful little book called Gift from the Sea. When you love someone, you do not love them all the time. When you love someone, you don't love them all the time. It's good. It's good that we're hearing all of this. In exactly the same way, from moment to moment, when you love someone, you do not love them all the time. In exactly the same way, from moment to moment. It is an impossibility, okay? It is even a lie to pretend to, okay? And yet, this is exactly what most of us demand. All right. We have so little faith in the ebb and flow of life, of love, of relationships. We leap at the flow of the tide and resist in terror its ebb. Yeah, we are always gravitating towards what feels good, right? But then life is a mixture of hot and sweetness, right? We are afraid it will never return. We insist on permanency of the goods, on duration, on continuity, when the only continuity possible in life, as in love, is in growth, in fluidity, in freedom. This one hits hard. This one really hits hard. This one really hits hard. There's a subheading called Enduring Hot Monogamy. Since we are talking about love over the lifespan, we want to paint a picture of the stages your love life is likely to go through. However, before we do so, we feel it is important in this chapter to first talk about sex. After all, we are thinking about it. And it is a good thing that you are. Why? Because your brain is the most important sexual organ that you have. Okay? The human sex drive operates out of the cortex, that thin outer layer of the brain, where all learning takes place. Humans use their highly developed brain to learn how, when, where, and whether they will give expression to their sexual urges. This ability for control is what separates us from the animal. So does this mean that having sex as a husband or a wife does not involve animal instincts? Not on your life. We recently spent an entire day, breakfast through dinner, with renowned sex therapists Clifford and Joyce from California. The Penners, authors of The Gift of Sex, have been counseling people on sexual issues for nearly 3 decades and have heard every conceivable story you can imagine on the topic. They have devoted their professional lives in helping people enjoy sexuality to the fullest. They understand the mechanics of what makes sex good and why it sometimes goes painfully wrong. So what did we learn from the Penners about getting your sex life off to a great start? First, we've got to realize that your spouse may not be interested in sex whenever that you are. Some men will not like to hear this one. Sexual desires is not contagious. I will say that again. Sexual desires is not contagious. If you are in the mood, you can't expect that by default your partner will be too. Think of your sex drive as an appetite. Just as each of you will differ in your appetite for food, says Joyce Penner, you will likely experience differences in your spouse's appetite. The point is that you will have to learn to coordinate your sexual desires without overfeeding one of you.